Okay, let's really unpack this. Human language, I mean, it's just such an amazing skill, right? It seems totally unique to us here on Earth. We kind of take it for granted. But did you know there was something like 6,500 spoken languages out there? And for you listening, maybe you're thinking about learning one for school or just, as a hobby.
Yeah.
Or maybe to really connect somewhere new
Right.
or even, for travel or business. It's a huge advantage.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating is it doesn't matter how old you are or where you come from. The big question everyone asks is basically the same. What's the best way? Or what's the fastest way to learn a language?
Right. The magic formula.
Exactly. But like a lot of the big questions, well, there isn't just one single answer. The experts we looked into, they show that learning really connects deeply with how your own mind works, and why you're learning in the first place. So yeah, our mission today is really to break down these different ideas for you, help you sort of navigate it all.
And just quickly, before we dive in, it's worth remembering those 4 key skills we're usually talking about with language, right?
Yeah.
Listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
Mm-hmm. The core components.
Okay, so let's get into the first viewpoint.
Yeah.
Some experts call it the baby way, which sounds pretty intuitive, like we should just learn how babies do it.
Yeah, that's the basic idea. It's really about implicit learning. So not consciously memorizing grammar rules, but more like your brain picking up patterns subconsciously.
Yeah.
Think about a baby, right? They're just constantly listening all the time. And they're watching, picking up visual clues, connecting actions people do with the words they hear.
Like pointing at a cup and saying cup.
Exactly. Thousands and thousands of times. It builds connections through just tons of exposure and context. So the general path here is, first, you listen and you see. Then you naturally start to speak. After that comes reading, and then finally writing. And that example you hear about a baby saying their first words around maybe 10 months, that's only after they've seen and heard thousands of those little show and tell moments, like you said.
Right. It takes time.
A lot of time and input. And proponents of this method, they really believe this is the natural way for adults too. They actually push back on the idea that getting older automatically makes it harder to learn a language.
That's interesting because you do hear that a lot. But, okay, if it's the natural way, why do so many adults find it, well, kind of difficult just trying to immerse yourself without any structure? Is there more to it?
That's a really good question because while it's natural, it definitely demands a lot of patience. And you have to be okay with not understanding everything at first. That ambiguity.
Right, like being dropped in a foreign country.
Exactly. Imagine trying to order coffee using only words you've kind of absorbed by listening. That's pure baby way. And that initial feeling of what is even happening or what are they saying, that can be really tough for adults.
Yeah, I can see that.
But the argument is that this is how you develop that deep intuitive fluency, where you just speak, without constantly translating back and forth in your head.
Okay, that makes sense. So that leads us to the other side of the coin, the adult way. These experts see it differently. They acknowledge our adult brains aren't empty.
Right. They start from the point that your adult mind isn't a blank canvas, like a baby's supposedly is. It's already wired, you could say.
Wired. How so?
Well, your brain has all these established pathways from your first language, your culture, your education, everything you've learned and experienced. But crucially, they don't see this as a disadvantage. Not at all.
Okay, so it's not a bad thing.
No, they argue you should use it. Adults can strategically sort of map the new language onto what they already know. Use your existing understanding to speed things up, especially past those early tricky parts.
How does that look in practice then?
It means really leaning on the skills adults usually have, like reading and writing, and using all the tools available now, books, apps, teachers, conversation groups, websites, you name it. So an adult way approach might involve, say, reading articles or books, watching videos to get information and context, while also actively, maybe, writing short paragraphs or emails, and definitely speaking with teachers or language partners.
Using structure to accelerate.
Precisely. It helps you get past those initial hurdles faster. Things like verb endings that seem totally random at first, or sentence structures that feel backwards compared to your native language.
Gotcha. So we have these two quite different philosophies, the immersive baby way and the structured adult way. For you listening right now, trying to figure this out, what does this actually mean? Is one just flat out better?
Well, connecting it all, the sources really suggest that language learning isn't like following a recipe. It's more like learning an art or a craft. There's no single good or bad way universally. The path that's going to work best for you, it's probably going to be some kind of mix, a blend of both. And this brings up a key point. You really need to think about why you're learning. What's your goal?
Right, is it for travel? For work? Just for fun?
Exactly. And how much time do you actually have? What resources can you access? And maybe most importantly, what just feels right for you? What clicks? You'll almost certainly need to tweak things, adapt, improvise as you go along, maybe more immersion sometimes, more books and grammar other times.
So it really comes back to the individual, that the journey is super personal, and you have to be flexible.
That's the key takeaway, really. It's adaptable. So maybe the final thought for you to consider is this. Knowing that your adult mind is uniquely wired by your life, by everything you already know, how can you consciously mix and match? How can you combine these baby way listening and observing strategies with the adult way structured learning tools to build your very own personalized and ultimately your most effective way to learn that language?